Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank the Backbench Business Committee for facilitating this opportunity. Ever since the Civil War, perhaps back to the Plantagenet era, the primary duty of this House has been to control supply, to hold the purse strings and to decide what the executive may or may not spend on behalf of our constituents. It is not for Her Majesty's Treasury to decide what unknowable liabilities to sign our constituents up for. It is for us as their elected representatives to make that decision. And I ask every member of this House to consider when they come to cast their vote later, that point, that is our decision, and only we stand between our constituents and the ability of others to spend their money on their behalf. My simple point today is that it is unaffordable for this country to bail out countries who joined a currency we chose not to, when we ourselves are borrowing as much money, if not more, than those very countries we are bailing out. We are seeing £12.5 billion of our constituents' money, twice as much as was saved in the whole of the first year of this coalition government. £500 per household being spent, and I mean spent. The government tells us it expects this money to be paid back. Yet if the money is going to be paid back, why will the private sector not lend? Why are rates of 10 to 17%? I give way to the Honourable Member for Luton.
I thank the Honourable for giving way, congratulate him on raising this issue and support what he's saying. Will he not agree that bailing out Greece or Ireland or Portugal in itself is expensive? Today, the contagion is spreading to Spain and Italy, which would be absolutely prohibitive even for the whole European Union. Isn't this a nonsense?
The Honourable Member is quite correct. It goes on and on. Yet it is not our problem, it is not our currency. If we can do anything, we can at least save ourselves, and perhaps Ireland, but we cannot save the euro. They made their decision, we advised them against it, yet they chose to go to it, to create a currency without a fiscal union to back it up. And it is their problem, not ours. I give way to the Honourable Member for Chichester.
Given that the no bailout clause has turned out to be completely worthless, the Eurozone is going to need to design some kind of resolution procedure for countries in much the same way that we're trying to devise one at the moment for banks. Isn't it all the more important, therefore, that the UK taxpayer, since we're not members of the Eurozone, should have absolutely no part to do with the construction of that resolution procedure at all? We don't want to find any more burdens on the UK taxpayer.
My honourable friend is quite correct. And this permanent bailout arrangement which they talk of establishing, we, the United Kingdom, have a veto over the establishment of that, and we should use that veto to relieve ourselves of all liability under this mechanism which should never have been agreed. And that is what I am proposing with my motion today, and it is what the amendment to that motion fails to do. Now, when this was set up, we were told that there would be 60 billion in this EU mechanism, but 440 billion to be paid by the Eurozone members. Yet at every bailout, we find this mechanism is used the same or even more than that Eurozone facility. We are, in this House, in this country, being forced to pay for the mistakes of others. And it is only this House which has the power to stand up, to vote, and to say no. This whole mechanism that was set up is illegal. Remember Maastricht, the no bailout clause that the Germans insisted on? What's happened to that? Remember Lisbon, Article 122? It says it's for natural disasters or other exceptional circumstances beyond the member states' control. Did Ireland, did Portugal, did Greece, did they not decide to sign up to the euro? Portugal has barely grown as a country at all since it joined the euro. It has done next to nothing to control its spending. There is nothing, I'm afraid, exceptional about that. Nothing beyond their control. It's just they are using this mechanism to which we should have said no to make our constituents pay for their own mistakes. I will give way to my honourable friend to stay.
Extremely grateful. Does he recall that Madame Lagarde herself, who is the prospective head of the IMF, actually said on the 17th of December last year, in respect of this very point that my honourable friend is making, we violated all the rules because we wanted to close banks and really rescue the Eurozone. That related to this specific issue. She was exactly clear and she told the truth at that time.
He's only got 3 minutes to go, just to one.
Yes, my honourable friend is quite right, and I hear that this lady is a good friend of the Chancellor. But I do not believe that you should put the debtors in charge of the bank. The IMF money too, 5% or so of it, is our constituents' taxpayers' money. We should have an emerging market candidate to run that fund. We should not allow the Eurozone to continue and perpetuate a French-led IMF that nods through bailouts with no restructuring, with no devaluation. Bailouts, everyone, the markets, all of us know in our hearts, will not work. We see with the Eurozone, what it is doing is, it says it's going to be a soft restructuring. I.e. when Greece, or then Portugal, then Ireland, then Spain, who knows, can't pay back what they promised, they say, oh, don't worry about it, we'll just roll it over. In the city, they call the policy extend and pretend. It is what they did in Japan for the whole of the 1990s, and they then lost 2 decades of growth. Instead of dealing with their banks, recognizing the insolvency, and I include the ECB in that, unless they deal with that and understand the assets which they have taken, supposedly to back the loans, are worth far, far short of what they're assuming them to be, until they recognize that, write those assets down, have that reckoning. Until they do that, the banks will not lend, because they do not know who it is safe to lend to. This policy of extend and pretend to patch up while bailing out and throwing bad money after good money after bad, excuse me, it is a policy that is destined to failure. And yet, why are we supporting something for a currency we very, very wisely did not join and warned them exactly what would happen? I ask this House to stand up for our constituents and to require the Treasury to vote against the use of this bailout mechanism. And if the EU will not agree to that, to use our veto over their permanent bailout mechanism until we are extracted and removed of all liability from a mechanism we should never have been liable for, because we know it's unlawful. We know it's not our currency. We know it is right that we stand up for our taxpayers and our constituents, and they look to us as members of this House to do so. They don't look to us to seek permission from the Treasury bench to say, oh, well, we may urge them to do something, so long as we don't require it. Surely, as members of this House, we are more than that. Surely our country is more than a star on somebody else's flag. I urge all members to vote no to this government-sponsored amendment.
Mr. Gavin Hopkins.